Today we are taking a look at John Mayer's acoustic pedalboard as well as a little bit of his use of effects for his vocals during the solo tour. This shot of John's acoustic pedalboard that you're looking at is from the Guitar Magazine Japan March issue. I have the magazine in hand, and this shot here was one of the ones that was not posted online, so I scanned all the pages, translated all of the Japanese into English for you guys, and I'm making a few videos now. This will be the second of multiple videos I'm making from the kind of rig breakdown gear interview that they did with Jeremy, John Mayer's guitar tech, and just some details around his gear that he used for the Blue Note Tokyo show, which is where these shots are from. So go check out the very first video that I did on the electric pedalboard if you haven't already. But today, primarily, we're focusing on that acoustic pedalboard, so please give the video a like for the extra effort of scanning and translating everything for you guys to make these videos. Alright, now in order to understand this pedalboard, we actually have to take a quick look at one of John's acoustic guitars. That guitar is his Martin Grand J double neck with a 12-string neck and a 6-string neck on it. There are only two of these guitars in total existence. John currently is in possession of one, the other one is in Martin's hands, and I believe John doesn't actually own this one, but we'll save that for when I do the video on the acoustic guitars. The detail that matters here is that this guitar can actually split its output signal between the 12-string neck and the 6-string neck. So you can actually have completely different signal chains for each part of the double neck guitar, and that's exactly what John is doing with the acoustic pedalboard. And in the shot here of John with the double neck Martin, you can actually clearly see that he's got those two output cables on it from the guitar. So that's exactly how this guitar is ran, and that's why there's actually two separate signal chains when it comes to this acoustic pedalboard. So how this works is you take the main signal chain that's used for just regular acoustic guitars, then that is used for the 12-string neck. Then the 6-string neck on the double neck is a completely new and separate signal chain that's only active when John is using the double neck Martin. So whenever we are discussing the main signal chain, everything in it is also for the 12-string neck of the Martin. Alright, now getting into the actual acoustic pedalboard, one difference here is that with the electric pedalboard, they really gave a full-on signal chain, or at least their best kind of approximation and guess as to what the signal chain would be by actually looking at the board. When it comes to this acoustic version here, the pedals are numbered on the board from lower row, right to left, then the top row, right to left as well. Pedals 1 through 8, then you have them Type H90, the Moog EP Expression pedal, and the Boss FS5U off to the right side, kind of in that order, but they don't explicitly state that this is the full-on signal chain like they did with the electric pedalboard. And the way the cables do look, if you zoom in on the board, doesn't quite look like it's fully right to left on the top row and the bottom row. It doesn't quite look like that's what's going on, but I'll just list the pedals in the order that they have done in the magazine here, and of course with all of the translating as well. So discussing the main signal chain as well as the 12-string neck of the double neck, that whole signal chain first, we have the lower row pedals 1 through 4. The Boss TU3, the Strymon Night Sky Midnight Edition, we have the TC Electronics Infinite, and then that lower row Boss RC500, and as you can see it has a main/12 sticker on it. Now in the magazine it then goes on to state that pedals 5 through 8 are for the 6-string neck on the double neck Martin, a completely separate signal chain. Again, keep that in mind. So you have another Boss TU3, the Strymon Cloudburst, you have a Boss DM101, and then the Boss RC500. Now the RC500 on the top row, the Cloudburst, and that top TU3 all have a DBL6 sticker on them, of course clearly indicating that these are for the double neck 6-string neck. The Boss DM101 doesn't have that on there, and while they are indicating that the top row is for the 6-string neck, because they just don't really explicitly state and kind of talk about the pedals in the full signal chain order, they're kind of a bit more broad and just say that they use reverbs and delays on John's board just to kind of fill in for the acoustic effects, and it's rather simple. They touch on the Boss DM101 very last. And just the translation, it's a little weird. I'm just going to read it for you guys. The upper 7 DM101 is probably for looping the 12-string stroke when using the double neck and turning it on when playing the solo on the 6-string side. Obviously, it's not a perfect translation, unfortunately. I'll leave the actual scan that I did on screen as well for that section for you guys. If you speak Japanese or are proficient in Japanese, you know, if you could help translate that in the comments down below a little bit better, that'd be awesome. Or DM me on Instagram if you can translate the full thing a little bit better than Google Translate. that would help me out a bit. But I assume what they're saying is that number 7, the DM101, is for when John is looping the 12th string and then he goes to do a solo on the 6th string, and then he can add some delay while he's soloing with the 6th string neck on the double neck. That's why I assume they're saying. Maybe the part that's kind of throwing me off here is when it came to the electric pedal board, they discussed the pedals in the actual signal chain order, and the DM101 is the very last pedal on the actual board as far as acoustic pedals go that they discuss. So maybe that's just what throwing me off here with, it's kind of a bit of a weird way they transitioned into discussing the acoustic pedal board. So maybe that's just what's throwing me off, is that the DM101 is the very last pedal mentioned, but maybe it's the very last in the chain too. Who knows? But it's in there. They're saying it's for the 6-string double neck Martin, and I believe them. Like, they were right there. They had the access to John's gear. They talked with Jeremy. So I am fully on board with whatever they're saying. Just unfortunately, the translation is really kind of a bit of a barrier here for me to try and make this video for you guys, but I'm doing my absolute best. Now in this shot here, you can also see the Eventide H90 just off and behind the pedal board. This is strictly for vocals, and that Moog EP expression pedal is hooked up to it as well, so John can dial in whatever effect he's using on his vocals. I remember when I was at the Vancouver show of the solo tour, about a year ago now almost, and I was watching John perform Clarity, my favorite song, and I could specifically tell he was dialing in the reverb on his voice with the expression pedal when it came to certain parts of the parts of the song. And so that's exactly what John is doing here. And if you zoom in on the Eventide H90, you can actually see the settings and kind of the preset, which is pretty cool. On the screen, it says number 1, JM So zooming way on the screen so I can actually read it, it says 01 JM REV delay. Number 1, John Mayer reverb and delay. You have digital delay for A, and B is SP 2016 reverb. Really cool that the shot is so good that you can actually read what's on the screen of John's H90. That's just absolutely wild to me. The last thing that's in this shot that I feel like mentioning, or that's really worth mentioning, is number 11 is a Boss FS5U foot switch. This is just for John to be able to control the screen, what's exactly going on, and control it with his timing, because he's really in control of the entire flow of the show. Also in the magazine, it does mention something about him being able to control the lyrics as well. As he clicks it, he can switch through the lyrics that are on the prompter in front of him. So seems to be maybe a dual purpose, because clearly in different shows, you see John step on the Boss FS5U, and then it goes right to the screen up top, switching to a different portion. So maybe it's all dual purpose just for the next section of the performance. He can kind of use that to click through everything. But that in and of itself is John's acoustic pedal board with a touch on some vocal effects as well. Really amazing that we have these shots of his pedal board. I'm just very, very surprised, and it's just cool to look at his rig like this in such detail, with people actually there to ask Jeremy questions and really dive into the gear he was using on the solo tour. So we have it documented in a way I never ever thought we would. Now, of course, we're making videos on the amplifiers, all of the guitars, and more details around the pedal board as well that we've learned from this magazine. The magazine will be linked in the description down below as well. At this point, it's just a cool piece of John Mayer gear history to actually own the magazine, and if you are thinking about buying one, I encourage you to buy one just to have, and to look at the pictures in the magazine. It's super cool to actually see them like that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned to the channel for all the videos on the other details that we've learned from this magazine. Take care, you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.